Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to see how we can take a basic bar plot and we can make it look more impressive using the ggplot and different themes and packages available in R. So first of all, we are going to load some of the packages available in R. One of them is tidyverse and obviously ggplot and string R and table to do some data manipulations. So we need a data set to uh, create plots. So I'm going to see what data set we want to use. So when I run this function, I can see what are different data set which are available in R as an inbuilt package. So you can see air passengers, chicken, chick weight, etc. And there is a Titanic. So in this example tutorial, I'm using the data set called islands. You can see the Irish data set is also available, which is usually the most preferred data set for many researchers. But in this data set, I'm using the data set called islands. So we load the data islands and let's see what the islands data set looks like. So there is island or the place name and the land mass of the island. So this islands dataset is actually in a numerical format. So I'm going to convert the island um, dataset into a data frame, and I'm going to save it in a new data frame variable, and I'm going to see how it looks like. So you can see for the place names I don't have any column name, and for the numbers I have uh, a column name called islands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this column doesn't have the row column name because actually this is a row name. So I'm going to change this row name to a column and assign a column name. For this I'm going to use a function called row names to column from the table package, and I'm going to rename the islands to appropriate column name called land masses. So when I run this, I would get a data frame like this. So I have my row numbers here, and I have the island name and the land masses. So these two columns will now be used for plotting. So let's plot the bar plot using this data. So you can see to the right, I have a bar plot with islands on the x-axis and land masses on the y-axis. For the moment, I'm going to save this plot in a uh, in a basic plot variable, and I'm going to save the figure in a TIFF image using the ggsave function. So previously I have not saved the data into a new data frame, but now I am saving it to a new data frame which is called data frame 2. So as I showed before, I have two columns, island and land masses. So now I am going to take this data frame 2 and I am going to use it further for the plotting. The first thing is that I don't have the plot title, so I am going to have a plot title name here, plot of land masses by island. So I have now a plot title. Now you can see the x-axis labels are not so x-axis labels are not so clear. So we are going to change the angle of the x-axis text. So this now looks much better. But what's the issue with this plot is the person who is looking at this plot have to strain himself to see which is the lowest and which is the highest. So it would be nice always when we have a numerical variable, count variables, when we have the bar plot, it would be nice if we can arrange it in from lowest to highest or highest to lowest. For this I'm going to use a function called reorder, and I'm going to arrange the islands based on the counts of the land masses. So for this I'm going to run this. So now you can see that the data becomes more easy to infer. The biggest is Asia, second biggest is Africa, and so on. The lowest is Vancouver. So now that we have done this, the next thing is I'm going to change the theme of this plot. So ggplot comes with some set of themes. Um, for example, theme underscore classic is one of the themes. So when I draw this theme classic, so you can see all the grid lines disappear and I see only the white space here. If you want to see and explore different themes here, you just have to type theme underscore and press tab. You would see all the themes available here. For example, I want to try theme gray, and then I plot. So you can see I see the theme gray here with white grid lines. I'm going to keep it classic. Let's try a different one. It's a black and white theme. So previously I had white grid lines, but now I have gray grid lines. What about the packages from outside the ggplot? What about the themes available outside from ggplot? One of the libraries I found, one of the packages that I found very interesting is this ggtheme R. So I have downloaded it using the devtools and uploaded the library. So you don't have to specify the theme inside the ggplot function. You just have to uh, type like this ggtheme R and the theme that you are interested in. Then that would be subsequently applied for all the plots when you have an R script. So I'm using pale theme. So that generates me the pale theme with the orangish or reddish bars here. Looks much better than the basic ggplot. What if I don't want to use the pale, but I want to use some other theme? So I would reset the theme, and then I load a different theme. So one of the themes that I like is this dash theme. So let's try this dash theme and again plot. So now you can see that dash theme has a light pinkish background here and the plot area. Okay, we have applied the theme. Next, the next step is to change the fonts. So we want to use a font. So that can be done using the library called show text font at Google. So I am adding two different fonts here. So the name of the font, you can Google the fonts. You can find fonts, and whichever you are interested in, you can take that font and you can name that font. That will be used in R. So here there are two fonts that I have downloaded to test. So in this present example, I had to run this show text underscore auto because unless until I run this command, I cannot see my plot font changing. So I would run this. Now I would run the ggplot function with my font family to be Bell. So I'm changing my plot title and the family name is Bell, which is what I have done here, Bell, of size 25. So you can see here the size and the font has changed here in my plot. This Roboto is a bit more professional looks. I liked it very much. So I changed the Bell to Roboto. You can see the font here looks much more professional and formal. So more interesting. At this point, I wanted to share by default the plot position Plot titles position is actually at the y-axis scale, but when I change the plot title position at plot, then the plot moves further to the left. uh, so this is just a tip that I found out from Cedric, one of the data visualization expert, that how you can move your plot title. Then next, what if I want to change the font in the whole ggplot? So for this I'm going to add a text variable here and say that the whole plot's font is going to be Roboto. So let's see how it looks like. So you can see now the whole plot has changed the font. This looks more nice, nice space, and visually more elegant. Okay, now one issue with this bar plot is how, I mean, I can't see what's the number, or I don't see what's the value of this Vancouver and Hainan. So what if I change the scale to a log scale? For this I'm going to use scale by continuous and change the scale to log 10 scale. Then that would make my bar plot look like this. So now you can see I have Vancouver something like 12 or 15 or something like that. You can see all the values across, whether higher or lower, are still comparable because it's on a different scale, which is log scale here. But more nice would be if we add a uh, label on top of the bar. So that's why I'm going to add a geom text here. The label I want is the land masses, and I'm giving the position, the width, and the vertical justification. So now this would generate me the numbers on top of the bars, and looks more elegant now. Sometimes I came to know that the numbers and the edges may get clipped off um, due to ggplot default settings. So one way you could not let that happen is using this coordinate Cartesian clip, and the clip is off. So in this case it doesn't make much difference. It didn't make much difference in my case, but if at all, if you had to make sure that no labels are cut off, you can use this. Again, this is one of the tips I learned from Cedric, who is a data visualization expert. So the next part is I want to highlight a single bar. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a third column. I'm going to tell whether some of the islands are special or not special. The special is when the landmass is greater than 100 and less than 184. So when I look in the bar plot, the only island that satisfies the criteria is this Sumatra island. So I'm going to categorize it as a special, and all are not special. So I'm going to save this in a new data frame, and I see the data frame here, and name the column as case. So now I'm going to fill this bars with a case. So I would have now only two columns, two colors. Um, if I don't specify, let's see what will happen. What's happening here is the ggplot is assigning a default color. The theme is assigning a default color to this bar, the special one, and also another color for the not special ones. What if I have a specific color in mind and would like to use a specific color which I like or prefer? So I'm going to use this function called scale fill manual, and for those which are not special, I use a one color, and for special is a teal color. So let us plot. So you can see this specific one is highlighted. So you can see the legend is to the right. It's taking off some of the space from the plot. So what I want is to go up. What I want is to the legend to go up. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put legend position as top. So I would just run this. So now the legend goes to the top. This is much more nice and beautiful. Okay, the next portion is I want to annotate that bar and give some information or write some text about that. So for that, I'm going to use a function called annotate, and annotating the text, and this is the label that I want. I'm wrapping the label for 30 characters. After 30 characters, whatever the characters I see would be in the next line. And then I am also giving the x-axis coordinate and the y-axis coordinates. Also the color of the text and size of the text. Also you can see a geom curve here. Geom curve is for me to draw an arrow. What is the x-axis and y-axis coordinates from where that arrow should start and end. And you can also set the curvature, you can set the color, and you can also set the arrow length as well. So let's see how it would look like if I draw all this. So this looks really beautiful. You can see the annotated text here, and the arrow is pointing to the specific bar. This looks more nice, and it would bring the audience to attention to this specific bar. So at this point, I felt I wanted to color the plot title. So for this, I go to the plot title and change the color of the plot title. So let's see how it would look like if I change it to a navy blue color plot title. This looks much different and looks nicer. At this point, I also felt that I should add a note here because I don't know what this number means in the y-axis. So I have added a caption here. The note is the y-axis is in thousands of square miles. Okay, I have added the caption, but what are the stars? I actually wanted it to be a bold text, but looks like the default ggplot is not able to plot it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a library called ggtext, and also in the theme I'm going to add the plot caption to have the line width and same color as the plot title. Okay, so this generates me a nice plot. I can see the note here uh, with bold text and nicely in blue color, navy blue color. So here I've just cut down the label length to shorten it to see how it would look like. Yeah, so you can play around and see what fits your preference. So we will save this in using the gg save in a image format, and I reset the things. So that actually concludes our tutorial, and these are the resources. But just before we finish the tutorial, I'm going to show you how our basic plot looks like, and how our final plot looks like. So you can see gulf of difference between the basic plot and plot with changed parameters, changed sizes, and adding the text and annotations and informations. Looks more elegant and more nice and beautiful, capturing the audience and also explaining your data much better and more convincing way. So I hope you have learned something from this tutorial. If you like the tutorial, uh, please share your comments and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. See you in next tutorial.